Hello, World History 1 students. This is Mr. Everton, and this is a video about the Indus Valley Civilization, one of the 4 early river valley civilizations. And I'm going to tell you all about that early Indian civilization, and at the end, you need to tell me how it was similar to Mesopotamia. Last time I asked you how was Egypt different from Mesopotamia. Today we're going to talk about how India was similar. So let's start off by identifying on a world map where India is, because you might not know. In fact, it's very likely that you don't. There it is. Look, it's India. It looks like a big upside-down thumb sticking out of the bottom of Asia. In fact, it's often referred to as South Asia because it is Central South Asia. Sorry about the bell. India is called a subcontinent. That's because it's on its own tectonic plate. It was actually millions and millions of years ago. It used to be separate from the rest of the continent of Asia, and then very slowly it drifted into the bottom part of Asia. And when it did that, it created 2 huge mountain ranges where the plates slammed together. It drove jagged mountains up. And those mountains to the north of India, to the west, we have the Hindu Kush, and to the east, we have the Himalayas. You can say Himalayas if you really want to sound, pretentious about it. Nothing wrong with saying Himalayas if that's your preference. Sorry. So the Himalayas and the Hindu Kush separate India from the rest of Asia. They operate sort of like a big fence. They're a barrier that protect India from invasion, that separate it from China in the east and separate it from Mesopotamia in the west. However, there are mountain passes through particularly the Hindu Kush, but also the Himalayas, that allow people to travel through those mountains. It just limits the amount of people who can make that journey. This is going to be very important. So India is isolated, but not completely. Some people are able to get in and out. And just like we've talked about with our other civilizations thus far, Indian civilization is centered around a river. In fact, India is named after this river. It's called the Indus River. And the Indus River, just as we talked about with Mesopotamia, and the same process happened in Egypt, led to agriculture. The river flooded, it deposited silt in the soil around the river and led to very fertile farmland, and then that led to people growing crops, and that agriculture then led to what we call civilization. So another river that you need to know that's located in India is called the Ganges, and it's written Ganga on this map, but it's the same thing as the Ganges River. So on this map you can see clearly we have the Himalayas, the Hindu Kush, the mountain ranges to the north, and then we have the Indus River in the west and the Ganges River in the east. And if you also look at this map, you can see that sort of peachish tan color around the Indus. That is the civilization we're talking about, and it's called the Indus Valley Civilization. Convenient, right? It's located in the Indus River Valley, and we call it the Indus Valley Civilization because historians are brilliant. So this is an illustration of the Indus Valley Civilization, which was made up of independent city-states, very similar to Sumerian city-states in Mesopotamia. These are city-states that are independent of each other, except in this case, there's a lot more of them. There are hundreds of city-states in the Indus Valley Civilization. The 2 really famous ones that you need to know are called Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. And those 2 city-states are the most famous and have had the most research, the most archaeological study done of them. And most of what we know about Harappa and Mohenjo-daro comes through archaeology. Here is one artifact that archaeologists have examined, and you can see that there are some characters etched into this tile at the top, and that is evidence of writing. So we know that the people of the Indus Valley wrote, but we don't know what their writing says, and so that really limits what we know about them. We also know from this tile that the people of the Indus Valley Civilization engaged in trade with Mesopotamia, and we know that because this tile was made in the Indus Valley, and it looks like a lot of other tiles from the Indus Valley, but it was found in Mesopotamia. So we know that it was part of some trade that was taking place between the people of Mohenjo-daro or Harappa and the people of Sumer. We also know that people of the Indus Valley grew cotton. That was a very popular crop that was used to make textiles. We know that the government taxed people So we know that there was an organized government there. And then mysteriously, we know that the city-states disappeared, that Sumerian civilization disappeared around about the year 1700, just about the same time that Hammurabi was writing his law code. Also, by the way, notice this map of Mohenjo-Daro. It's laid out in a grid pattern like New York City. More evidence of an organized government. So we don't know the names of any rulers of the Indus Valley civilization. We don't know what their laws were like, but we know that they were there, because you don't get a city that's planned like this unless there's a government there to do the planning. So to summarize, we didn't go into a whole lot of detail, but we talked about the geography of India. We talked about the mountain ranges of the Himalayas and the Hindu Kush. We talked about the rivers, the Indus and the Ganges, and how they led to agriculture in India. And then we talked about the Indus Valley civilization, a mysterious civilization that we know about primarily through archaeology. Thanks very much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.